Your resume is one of the most important documents that you're ever going to write. This video is going to help guide you on what your resume should contain and how it should look. So let's get started. You see here I've got a full screen view. I'm going to zoom in a moment, but I want you to take a look at how this is organized and how it's laid out. Your resume should fit on one page. People with 10, 20, 30 years of experience may have a longer resume, but all of the important stuff will always be on the front page. As a student or recent graduate, everything that you have should be able to fit on a single page. Notice we've got really narrow margins, a half-inch margin all the way around. That helps us fit everything on a page. Your font should be no smaller than 10 points. 10 to 12 is the standard. So all of these formatting things will help us get everything on a single page. Let's take a look at some other details before we start zooming in. Notice that we have series of bulleted lists throughout this document. Notice also we don't waste a whole lot of space between the bullet and the words that follow it. Now in class we're going to cover how to control that, and if you're not in one of my classes and someone has shared this video with you, it's really easy to search YouTube and find tutorials on how to change margins and spacing and control the format of bullets. Make sure that you're not using any fancy bullets. You want the standard circular bullet. No arrows, no diamonds, no fancy shapes. Just a standard small black circle. And again, remember to decrease the amount of space between the bullet itself and the text that follows it. You'll notice that everything is lined up carefully and consistently along the side, but I do want you to notice how there's more space between these bullets at the bottom and the rest of the bullets. Now, to someone that's looking at this and evaluating it, that tiny detail may stand out to them, and they may actually put this in the discard pile because of that one small lack of attention to detail on the author's part regarding this particular resume template. So please be aware that the smallest inconsistency can jump out to the reader's eyes, and you don't want anything like that. You want people to focus on you and your skills. On the other side, notice that all of these cities and states and the dates are also aligned to the right margin. And you're going to use a right aligned tab stop to make that happen. You don't ever want to use a bunch of spaces to try and line things up. It might look like it's lined up to you, but if the user opens this and their fonts are set to a different font setting than yours are, it's not going to align anymore. So again, if you're in my class, you'll learn how to do this hands-on, but if not, YouTube, right aligned tab stop, okay? So I am going to zoom in now, and we're going to focus on the different sections of this particular document. Okay, zoomed in. You'll notice here that the name, your name, should be the largest font on this entire sheet. Again, everything is supposed to fit on a page, so you can play around with the font. There's no standard max or min. You just don't want it to look overly large, and you don't want it to look like you're filling space. But your name should be the largest font on this page. Under your name, you want to include your city and state. You don't need to have a physical street address. The city and state is enough. Your cell phone number, your email address, and also include your LinkedIn profile as long as you have your LinkedIn filled out and honed just right. If you are applying for a social media position, marketing position, or if you're a CIS major and have a GitHub presence, you may want to list other social media accounts. But again, only in those specific circumstances. Generally, it's just your LinkedIn profile is the only social media account that you want to include in your resume. Underneath that, we have our education section. Notice here there's no high school information. Once you're in college, High school really doesn't count anymore, so don't include any high school information on your resume. You'll notice in the education section we have the school's name. Make sure you are listing it correctly. You go to St. Augustine's University. There's an apostrophe S on the end of Augustine's, so make sure that you are listing that exactly correctly. Again, this is supposed to be your best work. Make sure it reflects your best work. This particular resume has the individual school. You are attending the School of Business Management and Technology. And then what is your major that you are pursuing right now? What will your degree actually say? Again, if you aren't certain, check the online catalog, check with your advisor, make sure that you list your major correctly. Over here, right aligned, we have the city and state that the school is located in, and your expected graduation month and year. Not a particular date, just month and year. Now, if you are a December graduate, but you won't actually participate in graduation ceremonies until May, list December. That's when you're going to be finished. The school can provide you a letter stating that you have completed all of your graduation requirements if you're trying to start a job in January before the official commencement date. Below that, you can see the first bullet here is the cumulative GPA. Now, if your GPA is 3.0 or better, you're going to list it. If the job posting requires you to include your GPA, you're going to list it. If it's below 3.0 and the job post doesn't require it, then don't list a GPA on your resume, okay? Some careers require it. Government positions, accounting positions tend to require a GPA to be included, so make sure that you're fulfilling all of the job post requirements. Below that, any awards that you've received while you're in school, and relevant coursework. And the key here is relevant. If you're a business major, you're going to take principles of management. You're going to take accounting. Don't list those types of courses. Everyone takes them. You can see how this particular example is listing things that are unusual, things that are different, or things that are relevant to the job that they're applying for. So think about the types of coursework that you want to include here. Below that, we have work experience. Now, if you don't have a whole lot of work experience, you can just label this section experience and get away with things that you've done for organizations or volunteer work. But work experience is the standard. And again, we're going to be really consistent with the name of the company and the title of your position there. And again, right aligned, the city and state, and the months in which you, or months and years in which you worked there. Remember, you're going to start off with the most recent job first, and then work backward in time. Within each job, you're going to list in bullets, starting with action verbs, your contributions, value-added accomplishments to that employer. You don't want to use terms like responsible for. You want short sentence fragments that start with action verbs like this one: performed financial due diligence on private and public prospects. Notice also that they've tried to quantify their contribution as much as possible. Did you consistently meet your sales goals, or did you consistently surpass your sales goals from quarter to quarter? Don't just say surpassed. Say surpassed by 10% or 20%. Try and do your best to really make your contributions tangible, quantifiable, and clear to prospective employers. So you're going to list all of your work experience, any leadership experience for organizations or clubs or teams that you might be associated with while you're here in school, or even volunteer work that you might do outside of school. And again, it should be formatted in the exact same way. The name of the organization, the name of your title, city and state, as well as the dates in which you performed these duties. And again, action verbs with specific, quantifiable, if possible, contributions to the organization. Below that, It can be pretty flexible depending on what your particular history is. Have you gone to conferences? Have you done case study competitions? Are there any other things that you can use to show a prospective employer just how amazing you are and all the different skill sets that you have to bring to the plate here? You're going to look at the job post to try and see what it is that they're looking for and make sure you have those things actually in your resume. Underneath that, we have skills, languages, and other interests. Remember, other interests should be career related. So you don't want to talk about hobbies like I like to play baseball or football unless that is a part of your career goal. You're going to want to list things that are relevant to the job post and are relevant to your future career studies. Please also note that language skills have some very specific ways of being expressed. So if you are proficient in Spanish, you do want to talk about, are you good at conversational Spanish, or are you fluent in Spanish from a conversational to a reading and a writing aspect? So make sure that you Google how to express language skills. Most of the skills people list on resumes are computer or technical skills. Make sure that they are things that you can prove. A lot of people like to put things like I'm good at time management or I'm a good speaker. If you can't really provide documentation or proof of these things, don't list them. They're empty. They don't carry a whole lot of value. Only list things that are relevant to the job and things that you can prove. So this is your basic overview on your resume. If you want to provide your advisor or your professor with a draft to look over, we can definitely do that. But this brief video should give you enough information to get started on. There are a lot of templates out there online, and there's a lot of variety in templates. But you want to make sure that your resume is one that's going to be approved by the School of Business so that we can put it in our database and so we can easily share it with prospective employers that ask for your resume. So again, you have samples for these templates, you have a document with guidelines. Rewatch this video as much as you like. Ask everyone in the School of Business for advice. The more eyes on your resume, the better. I look forward to seeing your resumes. Good luck.